is when the music stops. Right here on Radar Radio. He made me say it twice. This is when the music stops. Stop.
Freedom is always coming in the hereafter. But you know what, though? The hereafter is a hustle. We want it now. And let's get a couple things straight. Just a little side note. The burden of the brutalized is not to comfort the bystander. That's not our job. All right, stop with all that. If you have a critique for the resistance, for our resistance, then you better have an established record of critique of our oppression. If you have no interest in equal rights for black people, then do not make suggestions to those who do. Sit down. We've floating this country on credit for centuries, yo. And we're done watching and waiting while this invention called whiteness uses and abuses us, burying black people out of sight and out of mind while extracting our culture, our dollars, our entertainment like oil, black gold, ghettoizing and demeaning our creations, then stealing them, gentrifying our genius, and then trying us on like costumes before discarding our bodies like rinds of strange fruit.
Yes. Thank you for tuning in to Rated R Radio. This is When the Music Stops. I'm your host, DJ Rated R, with my man,
Ken Phise,
up in the house. And there's been a lot of crazy stuff going on in the news and the musical world. So tonight we're going to start it off, man, with my man, rest in peace to Alton Sterling, and rest in peace to Philando Castile. These were two African-American gentlemen who were gunned down, murdered by police. These murders were actually caught on tape. Last time me and Phise talked about, murders that happened in the past. A lot of them that happened with black people, or whether it was beatings or getting shot, they were caught on tape. And both groups and both incidents, they were acquitted in this situation. We've had a history of police being acquitted for Tamir Rice, the guys the guy in Cincinnati or in Cleveland. Mike Brown. I said Cleveland, but the dude Mike Brown. Just a lot of incidents where it's just been a huge injustice done to our people, and just recently, two more have added to the fold, and it was like two more that happened back to back. I don't know if it was the night, what was it, Saturday night? One happened, and not Saturday night. It was I think Wednesday night at 12:30 it happened, and then the second one happened during the daytime.
Yeah, so it was like, one right after the other.
Yeah.
That kind of goes back to the previous podcast when talking like things that happen so swiftly. It's like before you can sink your teeth in or understand one situation or what occurred, another one's happening. You know what I'm saying?
Back.
Definitely, rest in peace and condolences to those two families. You know what I'm saying? To those senseless killings that clearly didn't have to happen, that were caught on tape, but not on a body camera, but on the cell phone footage and whatnot. So I mean, definitely just take a second for that. And so, Ray, what do you think about the situation? I mean, when you saw these videos, how did you feel?
All right. Well, my initial reaction, bro, to seeing these videos, my initial reaction was disgust. I couldn't believe, especially the video of the guy Alton Sterling. I couldn't believe the way they, took him down that way. I guess he was being resistant in their eyes, but the way they tackled him, first of all, and just manhandled him down to the ground. I guess that's the force they got to use on us, whatever. But once they had him on the ground, I'm thinking he's down. When I heard that he had been shot while watching the video, I couldn't see anything that would trigger the police to shoot him while he was on the ground.
Right, to make you feel like if you were in their position that you were in danger.
Right. Would I have used those methods that the police use? And, you heard them yelling, he got a gun, or something like that. And then you heard shots going off. And then the camera went back to the guy laying there with a puddle of blood on his chest. Very graphic. You saw him shaking. like he was taking his last few breaths laying there. Very, very sad, disturbing, very disturbing video. And then this other video that was shown with the guy in the car. This guy was already shot up, and the police still had his gun on him as if this guy was posing a threat.
As if he was just going to, pull the bullet out
Right.
and pull out a gun and shoot him.
Be on some Terminator 2 stuff, come back and regenerate and shoot him. That's what it was like. And the guy had his family in the car with him. This cop, race soldier, more so, shot this man in front of his kid and girl.
Yeah, I mean, that second video, after the first video that I watched, and I didn't even want to even click on that second video. I was just like, I know what this is. You know what I'm saying? I know, like, I can read the story. Mm-hmm. I didn't even want to watch the video. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to get, I didn't want that piece of the information. It's like, like the first video was so graphic to see that man, out and, pinned down, both arms pinned down, somebody on his chest, somebody, looked like on his shoulder and on his other arm.
Yeah.
Gun dead on his chest. I'm like, man, this is probably more graphic than I've seen in a movie. In a movie, you might see somebody get shot from a distance, or they might be close range get shot, but never almost to the point like, all right, we dang near laying on top of one each other, and I've, not accidentally the gun went off, but yeah, it's me, or not me, but it's that person. Gun pointed dead at the chest, letting off, I don't know how many shots I heard. I want to say it was like 4 to 5 shots.
Yeah, like you heard 2 bang bang, and then you heard it was 5 more, I believe, after those first 2. Lit him up on the ground.
Right, he already pinned.
Yeah.
At what point do you feel like, I'm not even gonna go down that route, but I'm just saying, like, if you shot somebody one time, and this is what you trained to do, if something escalates to that point. That's not the case here, but if something escalates to the point where you have to shoot someone, this is what I expect that police should be trained to do, then are you not trained to say, all right, I'm going to fire a shot, and then I'm going to see, are you still, is this threat still the same level? Versus, I'm going to let off 7, 4, 5, whatever the case is, and just keep rolling. And then I'm like, it's done.
Man, Phise, it make you wonder, man, how many times are they going to use that threat argument? And we keep using the same argument on our end. What's up with the training? We was asking that same question when that Tamir Rice, when that little boy Tamir Rice was killed. When the police just pulled up on him and just jumped out the car and didn't give no warnings, no nothing, just fired. It's just there is no like you just question the training in these officers every time this happens.
Or maybe maybe that is the training. Possibly. Who knows? But yeah. So I'm just like,
and everything is perception. It's what they perceive. If they perceive the threat you are as a threat, then it's whatever.
But like any job, you know what I'm saying? Police, if you work in a steel mill, you know what I'm saying? If you do welding, whatever you do, if you're scared of that job, then if you're scared of the responsibilities or the day-to-day, what am I thinking of? If you're scared of the day-to-day of that job, the things you may encounter, then you definitely gonna screw up. Let's be real. If your job is to be a dog walker, but you scared of dogs, you more of a cat person, you gonna drop the ball. That's simplifying it to the most level, you know what I'm saying, in this case, but
and if you're afraid of the ball, and if you're afraid of dogs, why would you go to be a dog walker or work at a vet or work or do something around animals or dogs? Why would you want to do those jobs?
Exactly.
I see what you're leading to.
So if you're, in no way, shape, form, or fashion is this a comparison. But if you're scared of people, then I think you should go into IT, where you probably can just be working with some machines. You know what I'm saying? And you don't have least contact with people. You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
And then, so, in your opinion, nobody, I've seen a lot of this online, you know what I'm saying, social media. There's been a lot of talk of this and that. I mean, it's almost to the point. It's like people can't even agree on all right what the problem is. Let's get to the next step of what the solution is. So I'm looking at things on Facebook, and you know what I'm saying, you got the people that's like, oh, y'all all riled up about police killing black people, you know what I'm saying, but y'all ain't riled up about black people killing black people. I'm like, look, that's not the time or the place. That was never your argument before people got riled up about police killing black people. So why is that your argument now? You weren't making no stance on those things when so-and-so been getting killed in the hood. If it wasn't your friend, you didn't care about it. You was looking over it. It was not a problem. So why is this your stance now when everyone has a problem with the police killing black people in cold blood, you know what I'm saying, on camera? Like, why is that an issue for you now? And then...
Hey, can I
go ahead.
Excuse me. I call it diversion. It's a spirit of diversion. It's the trickery of diversion that people that's inside people, where some of them want to protect the police officers, you know, and some of them they feel like they got to stand up for the police. They feel like, you know, especially a lot of African Americans who are not police officers, because I mean, I understand how maybe some officers may feel, but in this situation, right is right and wrong is wrong, and we all saw wrong. So I don't care what walk of life you are. Well, we all know what we saw. This was wrong in this situation. And again, that whole spirit of diversion, man, between us is bad. You got people saying, oh, what about black on black crime? You got people saying, well, you got what about when a white cop, or what about when a black cop kills a white cop? It's like, man, come on, y'all. Like again, where was you all stand before right now? Let them have the argument. Let us deal with what's going on with law enforcement.
It's the wrong arena for that argument.
Yeah,
we ain't what we talking about right now. You know what I'm saying?
Tit for tat. People want to go tit for tat. What about this? What about that? Versus, it really irks me when it comes from our people. You know what I'm saying? When it's our people on there arguing, like you said, we can't come together with we can't come together and develop a common goal or a common agenda, because we so divided on who to point the blame at.
Right. Where to start the fix.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So now you arguing about where the fix should start. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I'm just looking at it like, this is crazy. And then, you know, my thing about that, like, oh, no, it's black on black crime. Like, no, the problem with, if you even want to compare the two, the way I look at it is like, oh, if somebody in the hood kills somebody else in the hood, and they get caught, they go into jail, they go under the jail, whatever the case. And, you know, so be it. You know what I'm saying? You've killed someone. But when a police officer, as we've seen as of late and, you know, in previous times, you know what I'm saying, if they kill someone that's black, then there's no jail time.
And there's a process.
It's just walking away. I mean, it appears to be a paid leave. You know what I'm saying? So you get some vacation time. Basically, you get paid for it. I mean, that's what the problem is. I wonder if if this was the case, if the very first cop, you know, in this current, you know, last decade or two killed a black person on camera, point blank, you can see it. If that person got, you know, 60 years in jail, then there would be a precedent set. You know, like, oh, okay, this ain't right. But, you know what I'm saying, people are killing black people in the street, and they getting away with it. They getting that time off, vacation paid, boom, come back to their job, or they might get another job doing something else just to keep their name off the radar for a little bit. You know
Desk duty, yep.
Desk duty, so you ain't out in the street, keep you safe or whatnot. So I'm just like, it's no, in my mind, I mean, I pose a question like this. If you're doing something wrong that you enjoy, and there's no consequence, or there's no, you know, immediate consequence, you know, maybe no earthly consequence for your actions, why would you stop?
Right.
So if, you know, if, let's say, you know, if the police, or these particular police, not all police, of course, are bad or are killing people or killing black people, you know, to go even more specific. So if you don't have a problem with killing black people as a police officer, or if, in fact, it may bring some slight bit of joy to you to get away with it, and you notice that no one else is going to jail for this, or no one else is suffering any consequences for this, they just taking paid vacation leave and going to the house, you know what I'm saying, what would make you stop doing those actions? You know what I'm saying?
They're protected. They're protected every time.
I mean, I don't even know if even if it ain't protection. You know what I'm saying? Let's just say, boom. All right. Well, I guess in the form it is protection because it's like, hey, you know, you go to court, but nothing's happening. You know what I'm saying?
Or they might try to stick a different charge on you, and that charge may be too high, and you know they can't prove that charge to be correct. So because they reached for the wrong charge, you're not guilty. Maybe if they would have went for a lesser charge, then yeah. But
Exactly.
it's all these charge politics and things like that when it comes to officers and
technicalities.
yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
technicalities come into play. And man, you know, to piggyback off what you're saying, man, about why would they stop? You know, I think about this. Cops, I wrote down cops are constantly violating our constitutional rights. Now, one thing that I failed to pay attention to in school was history, U.S. history, civil history, all that stuff I would fall asleep on. But I think now in this day and age, you know, with our constitutional rights steady being, you know, infringed upon, we possibly may need to brush up on those and maybe talk to someone. I'm not sure who, but just putting this out there. I wonder who could we talk to about the violation of our rights? Because hey, check this out, Phise. Check this out.
Okay.
We get punished to the fullest extent behind constitutional laws. If we do something and violate the Constitution, we're going to jail for X amount of years. They have X amount of years set up already for if you violate these constitutional laws.
Let's go.
If we are punished to the fullest extent, why aren't we protected to the fullest extent? And when I say that, in this situation with my man Alton Sterling, two of his amendments were broken in that situation. One of the amendments was the Second Amendment, and that's the right to bear arms. Regardless if he had a gun on him, near him, the gun was not in his hand, pointing or threatening in any threatening motion towards the police officers. So he had the right to bear arms.
Right.
So they violated that amendment off jump. And then
According to the same thing for Lando as well.
He told them, I got a gun on him. He let them know, because they asked you, or do you have any weapons in the car? He let them know that he had a gun on him and all that. And sure enough, they still let him have it. And the other amendment that was violated from my little research in this was the Fourth Amendment. This allows you to be in your space. And this blocks any unreasonable searches or seizures. And it should not be violated, and no warrants but upon probable cause. In other words, what I'm saying there is you should be able to be in your own space. The Fourth Amendment allows you to be in your own space. You should not be searched. You should not be tackled, subdued to the ground, knocked to the ground, just for any reason. And in this situation, it was sad because someone called the police on this guy, saying that he was brandishing a gun. The dude Alton, that's how the police came up on him. They were making false statements to the policeman about him brandishing a gun or whatnot. And whatever may have went down before they came, no one's life was in danger.
And even if that was the case, when the officers approached, if he was not brandishing, I ain't gonna say brandishing, if he was not gun in hand, gun pointed at the police, then that's an opportunity to have a discussion.
And discussion. Exactly.
Say,
it was like they didn't want
we got a report. What happened?
And you know what make another argument, bro, I was seeing on Facebook, it was this whole if he would have cooperated argument. You know, if he would have, that's black people problem. They always want to resist, woo woo woo. You know, first of all, I don't think it's fair that we have to we have to belittle ourselves, we have to bow down just so that we can live. It sucks that's what we are that's what's preached upon us. Like, you know, you gotta adhere to what they say. You gotta do everything they say. You gotta be quiet. Don't give no back talk.
Live to see another day.
Live, yeah. Hey, ain't that right, pops? And it was. I mean, you know, I hate that theory to a certain extent. I mean, it's true, but at the same time, I hate the fact that we have to live like that. I'm pretty sure that cop. I'm not sure, but you know how certain cops are. They walk up on you, they talk to you crazy, and this guy was probably looking like, man, what did I do? Like, what did I do? And they probably wanted him to get on the ground or whatever it may have been. And it's like, instead of them, just coming to him like a man, talking to him like a man, they want to throw him down like he's some wild animal.
Right.
And
that's, I mean, I agree. That's what I would imagine, because of course I didn't see prior to the video being taped. I don't know what occurred then, but if you get the call that so and so in front of the store and they brandishing a gun, instead of approaching like as if the gun is being pointed at you, you being the police officer, instead of approaching like so and so's pointing the gun at you at this point in time, and you doing whatever it takes to take them down, and he might have been back at his table selling CDs. This could have been an approach, a conversation. Hey, what happened? Explain your side of the story. We got this side of the story. Whatever the case is, whatever the protocols are, you know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, I mean, it's crazy. But like you said, it's crazy that what's preached is that you need to bow down and
you're not going
in order to make it to the next day. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and out of how many times, you know what I'm saying? If you stop 5 times out the week and you got to bow down 5 times out the week, and then that 6th time you like, man, I ain't having it. And that's the time you lose your life at that particular point, then that's a problem. I mean, if I got to bow down once and so-and-so ain't got to bow down 9 times and they bucking, you know what I'm saying? It's like, why am I not granted the same liberties? We all got the same rights, supposedly.
Yep. The rights. We all entitled. We got rights, people. And that's the thing, man. The amendment, the amendments, the 2nd, 4th Amendment in this situation, in a lot of situations that went down, have been violated. And I think we need to do something about that. I think my man Jesse, the old dude Jesse Williams, who made that speech at the BET awards, he made some great points. I can't think exactly of what he said, but in other words, when he ended it, he said, either we gotta create our own justice system. Either y'all gonna fix you all's justice system, or we gonna have to create our own. Some gonna have to give, because we are not all living under the same system of justice. And like you said previously, my man, if you don't like being in our neighborhood, if you can't work with us, get from around us. I don't even know why y'all taking jobs in them areas. If you got a gripe, or if you don't know how to handle or talk with African American brothers, just get up out of there. And
exactly. I mean, like you can apply that to anything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If my job is to drive a truck, the stick shift, and I don't know nothing about driving stick shift trucks, I shouldn't be taking that job, or I should be doing the extra mile to understand how to excel in that environment.
I agree.
You know what I'm saying? If you feel that the African American community is outside of your community, which may very well be, you may have grown up and not have known any African Americans, not a basketball, not a baseball team, and nothing you played part of, not a school may have had an African American person in attendance. And if you don't understand the culture, then you should take it upon yourself. And let me back up, because that sounds like I'm heading down the wrong route. But not the culture, but if you fear understanding the culture, not that it's totally different or anything like that. If you fear understanding or communicating with someone of a different race, then that's an issue that you should work on. If that's if you come in contact in your life, your job, or whatever with people of a different race.
Yep, it's something you need to work on, man. That's something you need to work on. And we will be right back. Me and Phise got a lot more to hit on with these cases, with this injustice from the police department onto our community. We got a lot more to hit on, but we'll be right back after these commercials right here on Rated R Radio.